Egyptians don't want our aid. There was a Gallup poll last year that showed that 70% of Egyptians don't even want the money we're sending them. To understand why, you have to understand that American aid doesn't go to the Egyptian people. It goes to the despots and the dictators that run the place. You have to realize that when protesters gather in Cairo, when by the hundreds of thousands and even millions they gather in Tahrir Square, why are they unhappy with America? They're unhappy with America because they're being sprayed with tear gas, bought with American tax dollars, manufactured in Pennsylvania, and given to the Mubarak family or given to the military. Why are they unhappy? Foreign aid doesn't go to foreign people. It goes to foreign despots and foreign dictators. Foreign aid is more likely to buy a lavish chateau in Paris than it is to buy bread in Egypt. You send money to Egypt, it buys private jets for the Mubarak family to fly to Europe. The Mubarak family is said to have stolen billions of dollars of American aid.
Now, as far as the situation in Egypt, Morsi's gone. Let's face that reality. There are a lot of things that we don't like about this. But I will say this. If you have any feelings at all for our good friends, our best friends in the Middle East, that's Israel, then you can't consider this amendment. Israel has all of the interests at stake. And it goes back to 1979, the Camp David Accords, and I remember that very well. The Camp David Accords put together something between Israel and Egypt. But keep in mind, in Egypt, it's not Egypt, it's the military, the Egypt military. They have been our friends, they have been Israel's friends for years and years and years, and since 1979. And if we turn our backs on the military now, there are others who would love to fill that vacuum. Should they have F-16s? I'm glad they have F-16s. They ought to have more F-16s. And some have been purchased and not delivered yet. They should be delivered. But if it's not going to be F-16s, if we should pass an amendment like this, you're going to find yourselves with a bunch of MiG-29s coming over from Russia instead of our F-16s. If this were 10 years ago, if this were 15 years ago, I might agree with my friend from Kentucky. But that was before we realized the threats that we have in the Middle East. We have some friends in the Middle East. We have Israel, we have Jordan, we have Kuwait, UAE, Qatar, Saudi Arabia. If that coalition of friends in the Middle East breaks up, what can happen to us here in America? Our intelligence has said, and it's unclassified since 2007, that Iran will have the capability of a weapon and a delivery system by 2015. If we don't have our friends in the Middle East to keep that from happening, we could pass an amendment like this, turn our backs on Israel, and that is exactly the thing that could happen. So I know there are a lot of people who want to talk on this who are a lot more articulate than I am. But I can say from a conservative, from this conservative, we cannot do this to our friends from Israel and our other allies in the Middle East.
I presume that you're happy, elated, jumping for joy that the Senate rejected Senator Paul's amendment.
Well, we've been clear that we believe the continued provision of assistance to Egypt, obviously consistent with our legal obligations, is important to our national security interest and to our goal of advancing Egypt back towards an inclusive democratic process. And our position on that has not changed.
You're, sorry, consistent with your legal obligation, you believe you're legally obligated to provide aid to?
No, consistent with our obligations under the law.
The law that you chose not to apply.
Consistent
right?
with our legal, that's no.
Consistent with your decision not to apply the law that would apply in this case.
We are working with Congress and will continue providing assistance to Egypt. And as we do that, it will be consistent with the law. That's why we're continuing to work with Congress on it going forward.
But consistent with the law that you have decided not to use.
I would disagree with your characterization of that. Yes, I would.